A U.S. district judge has ruled that President Trump's deployment of the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles during the anti-ICE protests in June is illegal. The ruling is specific to California, but it raises questions about the president's authority to order National Guard troops to other cities such as Chicago and New York. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna joining us with the update on this one. Big news for us.
Indeed. Yeah, if you take a look at what the court had to say, it sounds like a clear victory for Governor Gavin Newsom. But the Trump administration summarily dismissed this. In a news conference today, the president welcomed calls from cities who need help from federal troops, then took credit for, quote, cleaning up Los Angeles during the anti-ICE protests in June. For a few days in June, 3 blocks in downtown Los Angeles became the focal point of protests against ICE raids in the greater Los Angeles area. Despite objections from LA Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom, President Trump sent in National Guard and Marines. Nearly 3 months later, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer sided with the governor in his lawsuit against that action.
This decision validates that the power of the president is not boundless. Trump is not king. Trump's decision to deploy military troops to the streets of Los Angeles was nothing more than an act of political theater and public intimidation.
Political theater? Not according to the president.
We cleaned up Los Angeles. We did a great job there. And it was overwhelming what was going on. And again, the police chief made a statement that we could not have done, there's no way they could handle it. You saw what was happening out there. It was going to be a disaster. We stopped it cold.
But in fact, LAPD Chief McDonnell said multiple times he didn't want nor need the federal troops.
The Marines working together with the Army National Guard are in the same configuration, and their mission is the same. But their mission is not to work with us on the streets to maintain order, restore order, and keep everybody safe.
Los Angeles has one of the largest police departments in the country. Their officers are hired, trained, and resourced for civilian law enforcement. The National Guard and Marines are not.
All right, so now let's get into the details of why the judge ruled against the Trump administration. Trump's deployment of the National Guard and Marines to Los Angeles was found to be a violation of the Posse Comitatus Act of 1878. Now, this act prohibits the use of federal troops for domestic law enforcement purposes. As a result, the federal troops were only seen protecting federal buildings in downtown Los Angeles and Westwood. And this occurred even though the protests, which took place after the situation in downtown, had calmed and so were entirely peaceful, the ones particularly in Westwood.
So the question is, other cities, are they looking at this big time?
Other cities will most definitely look for it, because when he's talking about sending troops into Chicago, Chicago's mayor has come out and said, no, we don't want you, we don't need you. So perhaps, but it really is a ruling that has to do with the state of California.
And our politicians said this was the beginning, seeing the federal troops here in California. You had heard, like, I think it was Governor Newsom who said, other cities stand by, you're next.
Yeah, and Karen Bass had said things like, this is the experiment to see how far the Trump administration can go.